Remember this analogy? We have two in trays, one in tray labeled N, one in tray labeled M. Okay? And you have two pieces of paper, okay? I have, oops, excuse me. Those are not the names of the parameters. One is X, one is Y. Okay? I have two pieces of paper. Okay, I'll use two different colors to indicate the papers. So this is one piece of paper, and I have another piece of paper. Okay? I ask the person behind the counter, the subroutine, and say, go ahead and swap the content between those two pieces of paper. That's what I'm asking him to do. But what he is working with are not the original two pieces of paper on the copier. Because when he starts to work, he's making a copy of this piece of paper, making a copy of this piece of paper, and he's working on the copies of the original. So even though the copies of the original were swapped correctly without any problem, at the end of the execution of the subroutine, by the time we get to end define sub, he is putting all three pieces of paper into the shredder. What happened to the original two pieces of paper that I gave him, quote unquote, gave him originally? Nothing. Nothing happened to those two pieces of paper. So that's why this subroutine did not work. It's not because the code or the logic is incorrect. It is because I use by-val parameters. And by-val parameters cannot change the original items. And that's why when we specify by-val parameters, you can see that the arrow goes only one way. Okay? Whatever happens to X cannot go back to M. Whatever happens to Y cannot go back to N. Are we doing okay so far with local variables and by-val parameters? Are we understanding the limitations of by-val parameters? Because this is one big deal about by-val parameters. It cannot do this one thing. Okay? I cannot make changes to something. I cannot make changes to anything that is not a part of the subroutine itself. Okay? So when you guys have time, read ahead of me and read about what is a by-ref parameter, passing by reference. Okay, because that's the solution. If I change by-val to by-ref of this subroutine, everything is good again. So syntactically, it's a tiny little change, but in terms of the execution of the code, it's a big deal. Okay? It changes a lot of stuff in terms of how we are specifying what to process inside the subroutine. I will see you guys on Wednesday, and hopefully I will have, at least some of the questions graded by Wednesday.
I'm happy with what you said.